pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello Booktube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag 2018. Originated back in 2015 by Is That Chammy? And I was tagged by both Adam of Memento Mori and Chris of Chris Bookish Cauldron, so thank you guys for the tags. And this is the first video that I'm filming in my new apartment. Got a few books up. We'll see how it goes. I'll talk much more about that in my Friday Reads. Question number 1. The best book you've read so far in 2018. I have two. 2018 has been a really interesting reading year for me. I find myself at the midway point gravitating towards backlist, like 60-year-old backlist, mid-century British women's fiction, and moving away from so many new releases, but in particular moving away from prize list books because I'll talk more about that maybe in another video. But so I have one of each. I have a new release favorite, which I absolutely love, Freshwater by Akwaeke Emeze. She is an Igbo Tamil novelist, originally born and raised in Nigeria, but I believe now lives in the States. But isn't that a gorgeous book? This book does things with narrative technique that I've never seen before, and was a powerful story that, if you look at it psychiatrically, was about a woman with multiple personalities. But if you look at it from the perspective of Igbo spirituality, it was about the struggle of African Igbo deities and the pain of becoming incarnate. It just blew me out of the water. The most auspicious and audacious debut novel that I remember ever reading, and one of my favorite books to come out of Africa. Can't recommend it highly enough. And here's a 1945 gay novel. Denton Welch's In Youth is Pleasure. I read this a few months ago and haven't been able to stop thinking about it. This short little novel is about a 15-year-old boy, and it's just one of the most compelling, psychologically madcap, sensual novels I've read about a teenage boy who is obviously gay, although it's not said as much. It's a very autobiographical novel. It was just captivating. The best sequel you've read in 2018. I don't do sequels. The best sequel I haven't read in 2018 was the third part of Hilary Mantel's trilogy. Otherwise, sequels suck. But the best sequence of 2018 are a Booktube channel you should all check out, Tootight Lautrec. A new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I'm kind of moving away from getting excited about new releases. I did a new release video in January and hated or bailed on 85.25% of all those books. So yeah, I'm kind of moving away from new releases. I would say There by Tommy Orange. I've heard just enough that I'm going to tune out anything else that I hear about it until I get a chance to read it, because it sounds really good. And similar kind of skepticism with the next question. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I've got 3, but yeah, I don't know if I know I'll get to at least one of them this year, and that's the new Miriam Toews novel. I didn't double check the title, but it comes out in August. I loved her All My Puny Sorrows. It's one of my top reads of 2016. There's a new Kate Atkinson. I remember the title is Transcription. Don't know if I'll get to it this year, but sounds reminiscent of Life After Life, which is one of the best novels I've ever read. And I'm kind of souring on Murakami Haruki, or as Westerners like me would say, Haruki Murakami. He has the new translation of his newest novel, Commendatori something something, coming out in September, October, something like that. I still tend to love his tomes, and I think this is a tome. Ichikyu Hachiyon, which was IQ 84. I loved it, despite it was pretty much of a failure of a novel, but a brilliant one. No, his short novels are terrible. His short stories are terrible. His non-fiction's terrible, but he still can beguile me with a doorstopper novel, even if it's not that good. Biggest disappointment? How much time do you have? John Boyne's The Heart's Invisible Furies was my top read of 2017, and this piece of shit was the worst book I've read in years. If that little spurt of negative energy doesn't satisfy you, please check out my review. There's a lot more where that came from. Also, Annie Proulx's Barkskins was quite disappointing. I thought half of the book, the half of the narrative that focused on the indigenous characters really resonated for me, and it was quite beautiful, but the other half about the forestry, lumber, timber company, family, I thought was just terrible. And I loved her shipping news, but I thought Barkskins was very disappointing. And the other one, and I bailed on it, so maybe I shouldn't talk too much about it, but Joanna Cannon's second novel, 3 Things About Elsie, was about 4.5 things too much for my liking. It was just way too sentimental and literarily unimpressive, whereas her debut impressed me, despite it being, you know, weak in some ways. But I'll try her next one, maybe. But 3 Things About Elsie was really bad. Biggest surprise! This one was fun because I hate genre fiction, but now I can't quite say that with the same conviction because I read a suspense novel from 1951, Mischief by Charlotte Armstrong, and I loved it in a 5-star way. Wow! I'm not going to rush out and read another suspense novel anytime soon. I think next I'll try a mystery, but I really hate mysteries. But anyway, I can't make blanket statements like that with quite the same degree of conviction as I used to be able to. So, what do you know about that, hey? Favorite new author. I don't have favorite authors. I've realized as I get older I do not have favorite authors. I have favorite books. But a new to me author whose novel Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont blew me away is Elizabeth Taylor. I have a review on this. I loved it. It stayed with me. I think about it every day since I finished it about a month ago. And I have one more that I talked about on my last Friday Reads, a game of hide and seek, which I am going to be buddy reading with Leah of Hide and Seek. Hide and Seek, Hide and Seek, and Mel of Mel's Bookland Adventures. We haven't scheduled it, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I see that, oh, by the way, this is just an aside, you probably all knew this, NYRB Books is having a 50% off sale, so go check them out. And they have a collection of Elizabeth Taylor short stories, which I don't know if it's the same one that Curtis of Curtis Books and Films, Curtis Books and Books, has been reading, but he said they're amazing too. For this one, I would also say Denton Welch. I mean, I was just so beguiled by this novel that I want to read absolutely everything else that he's written. Newest fictional crush. I'm not above telling you if I had one, but I literally haven't got a crush on anybody in any book that I've read so far in 2018. I did have one that was quite fun last year, but nothing this year. Newest favorite character. Now, honestly, this is going to sound strange, but my newest favorite character in any book I've read in 2018 is Barbara Pym. Ange of Beyond the Pages and I are buddy reading her biography, which is called A Lot to Ask, A Life of Barbara Pym by Hazel Holt. And I am falling in love with Barbara Pym as a person. Not only her fiction, but her. I'll have a lot more to say in the review that Ange and I will do. We'll finish the biography this weekend. But I'm in love with Barbara Pym. So that's my newest favorite character. A book that made you cry. I don't usually cry. The last book that made me cry was The Heart's Invisible Furies last year. And even that would have been like a little... that's how I cry. But nothing has made me do that this year. But one that got me definitely verklempt and surprised the hell out of me was Anthony Trollope's Can You Forgive Her? There's a scene there between a couple of the main characters, Palliser and his wife Lady Cora, where she has been unable to get pregnant, and he's the heir to his estate, or what is it, dukedom or whatever the hell, I can't remember. And she feels that they should get divorced so that he can marry again and have a child. And just his answer to that, he was a really stiff wooden character with no personality, and he responded in such a loving way This novel was published 1850 or 18, like, what, mid-19th century, and it moved me. I never get moved by fiction that's that old, but it really touched me, so that's my answer. A book that made you happy. Favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year? Well, in all honesty, I'm not sure that I've seen a film in 2018. I don't watch movies. Actually, in this new apartment, Kenji has subscribed to Netflix, and because it'll have the Japanese subtitles for the Western movies, Kenji and I will probably start watching a lot of movies now, and that'll be fantastic. But anyway, I certainly haven't watched a book to film adaptation. That's going to change because I'm eagerly looking forward to participating in Adam of Memento Mori's book film club. I think I'll jump in with Lord of the Flies, which is in September, but looking forward to that. Favorite video you've done so far this year? This is question 13. I would say the collaboration videos have been my favorite because I think it's something kind of new on Booktube, and I think it's going really well. I would say, trying different ways of collaborating has been really fascinating and fun to try. I think the collaborative discussion that Doris and I had on Karis Davies' novel West was maybe the most successful, but they've all been really fun to do. And the only other one I would say was my January 3rd Besties and Worsties of 2017, where I had at least a bottle of wine in me when I pushed record, and it went pretty well. I think it's my highest viewed video on my channel. But that one was fun. 14, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. In addition to Freshwater, which I just think is a gorgeous dust jacket, I just love that, I would say this cover by, which I bought a month or so ago, an Irish novel, Langers Go Down by Aidan Higgins. And I just think it's a gorgeous book, and the end papers is the same graphic. Like that. So yeah, this is a beauty, and I'm looking forward to reading this hopefully early in the fall. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And none. But in fact, there are two, because I've been reading them for so long, it's ridiculous. One of them I started in November 2017, and that's this Bolesław Prus's 1890 novel from Poland, The Doll. Really enjoying it. I've switched from the paper copy because it's just too big to carry around to the Kindle version. But I've been so busy moving, and also my reading life has been taken over, and I am not complaining, but my reading life has been taken over by buddy reads, and this is not a buddy read, and so this one keeps getting pushed to the side, and I'm enjoying it, but it's a difficult read. I think I'm maybe 40% of the way through it, and I've been reading it since November, so I must finish it this year. And the other one is the Man Booker International long-listed novel from Taiwan, The Stolen Bicycle by Wu Mingyi. And I'm about 50% of the way through that, but again, it keeps getting pushed to the side. So I hope to finish these long before the end of the year, but this one, at the rate I'm going, and it's about 800 pages, I may not. Otherwise, there's no other books that I need to, and I don't even need to. If I'm still reading this baby in 2020, that's fine. It's my life, damn it. I think everybody and their dog has done this, but maybe not everybody and their drag queen. So I'm going to tag the wonderful new booktuber Tootight Lautrec to give this one a shot. I don't think Ange of Beyond the Pages has done it, although I'm sure she's been tagged umpteen times, so this is umpteen plus one. And I don't think Oly Bliss has done it. Otherwise, if you're watching this video and you haven't done this tag, please do it. Thanks for watching.